Did you see Trump at the Daytona 500? It was awesome. Check it out.
The second running of the great American race, along with Jeff Gordon, Jamie McMurray. I'm Chris Myers, and nice to have you along with us for this special moment.
I have been to a lot of Daytona 500s, Chris. Never have I felt the excitement and energy. We've had great racing on the track, but we've got the president landing right now. The fans are pumped up. I mean, wow, what a day.
It's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen to see. They said that plane's 800 feet above the racetrack right now. What an entrance by the President of the United States.
He's the Grand Marshal. He'll give the command. Presidents, of course, have attended NASCAR races, Daytona before, but again, the first to give the command for this, the Daytona 500.
And, you know, I just can't, I go into the mindset of these competitors and what they're going through. And
historic visit from President Donald J. Trump as Air Force One descended upon the scene here in Daytona Beach. And we're going to hear from the president a little bit later. This is more than a race. This is a major happening. It's one of the great spectacles in all of sports, and we're just getting started.
I don't care who you are. That's awesome. And that is good stagecraft. I found out that Trump was going to Daytona on Saturday. I read this Jesse Kelly tweet. He said, Trump going to NASCAR is, and I saw that, I was like, wait, he's going to NASCAR? Trump going to NASCAR is A, brilliant politics, and two, an obvious bear trap for the media. One they'll no doubt charge into at full speed. And sure enough, tons of tweets popping up. This is from some woman. She's a senior political reporter at the American Independent, which is some super progressive magazine. And she said, you thought an event couldn't get any trashier, and then talking about the president coming, right? So, and walking right into that bear trap. It is us versus them, city versus country, rural versus urban, elite versus real America, coasts versus the flyover. It's the same thing, right? Oh, just when you thought NASCAR couldn't get any trashier, then the president should. That was like all that stuff, city versus country. That was the 2016 election in a nutshell. And we talk about that a lot on this show because it's an ancient theme. It goes back to an Aesop's fable thousands of years ago, city mouse versus rural mouse, and the principles are the exact still same today. And the Dems are running full speed ahead into that same trap. The worst candidate when it comes to this elite versus NASCAR fan. You see the dichotomy with me? The worst candidate for this, and now each Democratic candidate has a major weakness against Trump, but the worst when it comes to elite versus the people is Mayor Bloomberg. So his strategy has been, and is, he stays out of the first few primaries and debates, just stay out of the whole thing completely. Why? Because he's terrible at debating, and why take a bunch of punches when you don't need to? Why get in this whole melee early on when everyone's just gonna get beat up? Just stay out of it. And then swoop in after the pointless primaries, come in on Super Tuesday, which is March 3rd. It's Alabama, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, and Virginia. A lot of states, ton of delegates, particularly from California and Texas. So why swoop in on that day? Because you're the only person, Bloomberg is, who can afford ads in every expensive media market, particularly in California and Texas. You win those two states, and you're magically the front runner out of nowhere. It's a really smart strategy, but only if you have a ton of money, which only Michael Bloomberg has. And we'll get to that in a minute. But who's more elitist than Michael Bloomberg? We played a clip last week of him speaking at the Oxford Business School about how we, the intelligentsia, that's what he said. He said, we, the intelligentsia, and people smart enough to be in this room, all right? And then he goes on to this whole thing about how only progressives understand the nuance of arguments. And the example he gave was the nuance of arguments for allowing men into women's bathrooms and boys into your daughter's locker rooms. And he said, we get it, but good luck explaining that to the rubes of Wisconsin. Right? So there's your elitist perspective. Meanwhile, you got President Trump flying in on Air Force One to the Daytona 500. You think the people at the Daytona 500 are going to vote for the condescending elitist over President Trump? Give me a break. Slater Crusaders, thanks for watching the first on YouTube. If you want more, like, subscribe. We got plenty.